Hey y'all, it's me again, Joey.
Well, ready to let them loose?
Yep, that's it. Let's see if they make us run.
Oh,
Probably so.
yeah, that one tried to get after him, but other than that, what can you expect? I mean, can you blame them? Oh yeah, they're getting after us now. Go, Joey, go!
They mad.
They're mad, buddy. I'm gonna get in the truck. You gotta go back and get your camera.
But also, just get as many as you can off the one next to it. Get out.
You gotta move forward.
Do that side again. Y'all ready? Let's get started. Well, hello everyone. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope y'all not as tired as I am. Beekeeping is about to kill me. How you doing, Mr. JW?
I'm doing
Yeah.
good. I was wore out yesterday. I've got recouped today.
I'm sure y'all are. How about you, Philip? You doing okay?
I'm doing all right. Hang on. Okay, lady. I'm driving home from the Boy Scout camp.
Oh yeah.
I decided not to spend the night tonight. Sleep in my own bed.
Yeah. That's good.
It's too early in the season for you to be worn out, Joey.
I it's just catching up with me. I've got too many to take care of. And if I was in normal health, it probably wouldn't be that bad a deal. But I get wore out after about 3 or 4 hives. I get plumb tired. I tell you what, I don't know when those videos are coming out, if they ever do, but just typical lifting the other day, up and down and moving around. When I got home, I was just sore all over. I think that hive lifter kind of done spoiled me a little bit. I didn't have it with me. Of course, I wasn't picking up nothing heavy, just moving around. Y'all did a lot yesterday, huh, Mr. JW?
32,
32?
top to bottom, all completely.
Huh.
Top to bottom boards on 32 hives. I was
Yeah.
just primarily the gophers. I had the saucepans was doing most of the hive work. I was just carrying frames and boxes and jockeying stuff. And I keep all my stuff on the hive stands, moving hive stands and that kind of stuff. That's harder work than working the bees, actually. To me, I've got a bad back. I got ruptured discs, so it just, I can feel it. If I lift too much, I can feel my disc rubbing together if it's so bad.
Hmm.
But I live to lie another day.
Does my internet act like it's got a drag to it?
Yeah, you got a little blur fading in and
It's
out.
lagging. I'm on AT&T. Do what, Philip?
I had noticed it being dragging.
Well, the first time I went to type something in there earlier, it said that it failed.
No, you're
I think
kind
my
of cleared up
AT&T.
again now, but you was blurring up when you first come on. We first came back on.
If it keeps doing it, I'm gonna switch over to the Starlink.
Yeah.
The 32. I don't know. I don't know if I could last 32 hives in one day.
That's a lot. That's a lot to fool with.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of them's double deep with the super already on them. I'd actually went in and used some uh, double screen boards. Just stuck them in there, and I told them guys they'd have to figure out which one where the queen was because I didn't make just sure the queen was in the bottom or top or where it was at, but I did have in that and had some queen excluders on some of them. Some of them medium frames is up top, so it worked out pretty good. We got through pretty good. Started at 10:30 and finished at 7:30, and we took
Yeah.
out about an hour and a half for lunch. So
I think what's got me kind of
about the same number.
all right. See, I'm lagging again. I think.
yeah, it's Philip. He froze up.
Oh. Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yep.
I think
Right
he's
there.
back again.
you're coming and going, Philip. If you can hear us, you're
I
in
can
and out.
hear you. You hear me?
On occasion, you're cutting in and out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm out in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm having trouble getting stuff to load up. Hang on here. All right.
It's kind of hilly where I am. I'm going up and down. Let's see. I'll show you.
Now you're coming in. You're coming in solid now.
Yeah, I'm coming up on top of the hill, so you can probably hear me. I'll go back down in the valley. It'll be back.
Yeah.
This is out a little bit west of Fort Worth, where I am now. It's pretty out here. Kind of rocky and a lot of cedar trees, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's nice out here.
Yeah, you're doing good while you're on that hill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what my issue is that's got me tired is more mental than anything else because this has been my worst year as far as getting queens mated. Now I'm counting when I say queens mated from sale all the way to her getting back in the box because usually uh, I usually do about 80%. Last year I was like 90% or 95% getting queens returned and get mated, but this year it's been close to 50%.
No, you're not gonna take anything out, no.
Mine's to be determined.
Yeah,
We split with some sales yesterday, a few of them. We'll see how they turn out. I'm just now starting to see drones pretty strong. Just the last week or so. So
I had one I went to. It was the first. It was 3 hives. The first hive I looked at, she was filling it up. She was laying good and had cap crude in there. And the second one, I didn't see any sign of a queen in there, but they didn't act queenless. And the third one went to, she had it laid up, eggs everywhere, but everything that was getting capped was drawn. So she had to be sterile. So I had to take care of her. And I didn't even bother trying to salvage that nuke to just put another queen in it because it was so messed up. I just shook all the bees down into the box and pulled the divider board and let them go back in the other hive.
sure.
Froze the frames, and maybe I can stick one or two in a large hive and let them clean it up. Philip froze up again
Yeah,
down in
Phil.
the
He's in the valley again.
valley.
Yeah, I went down in the valley. I'm coming back up again. I'm going in
Yep.
and out of water.
Coming back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably so, DC. And our season is so far behind. The yard I usually had to do first, I ended up kept coming back to it, and finally got to do it, and it was still way behind. Um, I may end up having to buy a few queens just to fill my nuke orders.
Yeah, that's what
Kind of
one thing. Tom was out here. They're building nukes. He was concerned about being a little short on. I think he took enough out of my stuff. He said for 12, 15 hives. I think so.
Yeah, I've got a couple people that told me, and they don't care if it's last year's queen or this year's queen, as long as she's a good laying queen.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing, so that don't matter. But I don't want to sell get accused of selling an old queen to anybody and telling them and them thinking it's a new queen. I try to do new queens first.
Yeah. Well, I've told different ones I wasn't going to buy any queens this year. I'm gonna. If I can't make it, just do without. That's all I know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I may have to eat crow, but I hope not.
Steve, the closest big commercial guy is about 15, 16 miles from me, but I've got several people. I wouldn't say they same size my apiary is. They probably got 8 or 10 hives within a 5 mile distance in any direction. Plus all the feral bees that are out there.
Any swarms around you yet?
I have caught one, two, three, and one of them don't count because it's mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope I don't even ever get to see another one.
I'm probably going. I'm gonna probably put that one out of order with everything else. I try to keep it on as it happened this year,
Yeah.
but I'll probably go ahead and move it upward a little bit because it's kind of interesting the way they acted, and it was supposed to be a. Well, let's just say this: it was a hive that I split 3 ways. I pulled the queen in a couple frames. I pulled 5 frames for a nuke, and they'd already. It was the only hive I found that had cells in it, swarm cells, and it was the last double deep. It was actually a 3 deep, um, and I pulled 5 frames, and one of them with 2 cells on it, and left at least 2 cells, maybe 3 down in the bottom, and put an extra box on it, and that that bottom box, the mother hive, it swarmed. So I don't know if there was one of the swarms, one of the new queens come out of there with that swarm, or that hive had 2 queens in to start with.
Yeah.
Because I,
It's kind of semi
it
sounds
actually,
like a double queener to me.
it actually last year I suspected it last fall when I was trying to get that third box off of it. I suspected 2 queens in there then because I found eggs above the excluder, and I put it all back together. I never gave it another thought until this happened the other day. I'm gonna tell y'all how big it was, but it's probably the biggest swarm I ever caught, and it don't even count.
Did you say you caught two other ones?
Yeah, I got 2 in swarm traps.
Yeah, you got me down 2-0 again. You're building a lead again this year. Let's see if I can come
Yeah,
back.
they
I
just
hadn't seen any
started
sign.
here. Scout
I
bees
hadn't
hadn't
seen.
even been busy around here about a week ago.
I hadn't seen bees even looking at my swarm traps yet.
I'm gonna tell you what one of these swarms did. It was my church bees. Um, I had two there. They were a couple 100 feet apart, and I went up there to bait them, rebait them. And the first one I walked to is like a secondary one anyway, and it had bees flying in and out of it. I said, "Well, Scout Bees is working on it." And I started to turn around and walk away, and I seen pollen go in. I said, "Hold up a minute." And I sat there watching it. I seen another pollen go in, and then pollen come out. And she just walked around a little bit and then went back in. I said, "Something's weird about this." But anyway, I walked on to the next one, and this is the main box. Philip, you froze up again?
Yep.
He ain't gonna hear my story. He had to go back and rewatch. But
He may
anyway,
now, so he may not just be getting out. I don't know.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I went to what's the main box at the churchyard, and it didn't have a bee around it. I stood there for at least 2 minutes. Ain't a bee around it. So the next day, I had to go check on an air conditioner. He went out. Uh, I got a call about one of the air conditioners not working right, so I went up there to check it, and I walked out there to one that was supposed to be busy. It's still a little busy, but it didn't look like a movie, and it still looked like scout bees to me. And I walked over to that other one, and they were tearing it up. There were bees all in it, flying in and out of it. It was like crazy. And 2 days later, I went back up there, and they working on it hard and heavy. So I'm declaring it a movie, and I just hadn't went and took it down yet. Actually, I got uh, four swarms. I got one. I got one out there at Vornado, the one that's kind of a long ways from me. It had bees in it, but I don't know if it's a swarm yet. I went to bait it on my way back from working the prison yard, and there were bees going in and out of it, but I didn't see no pollen going in yet. I've been missing a lot of the chat sitting here talking. I can't read and talk at the same time. Hey,
Yeah, they're just talking about you.
talking about me.
No, I'm kidding you. Hmm.
Yeah,
And
that's a good question there to Rodney. What do you do with all those swarms you catch? Not only that,
I
all those removals he does.
no, I didn't go, Steve. Uh, Matt went down there, I think, this morning, but we worked so hard yesterday that I was pretty stoved up when I till I got a few pain pills I mean this morning. My back was killing me, so I didn't want to drive 3 hours, so I didn't go down. There'll be plenty of time later. I need some lessons from Mark. I'm going to talk to him about maybe some cells. I don't know. We'll see what I'm going to do. Depends on how my cell work turns out. I think we sold 4 yesterday. I think with I left 2 in each. I had a couple hives that had, we probably destroyed. I don't know. I'm going to say 15 or 20 swarm cells, but I didn't have my incubator set up or nothing to stick them in. So just I told Tom just go ahead and tear them out and leave a couple, 3 in some of them. Depends on how they look. So let them fight it out if they make it. So
Did Matt make it down there to help y'all?
No, he went down to Mark Miller's today. I
Oh,
think
okay.
he was going
I
down
knew
to.
he was supposed to be going somewhere. I just
Yeah,
couldn't
he
remember.
went down to Mark Miller's. Mark's uh, doing quite a bit of grafting, trying to right now on weekends when he's not running. What kind of grafting tool you got, Joey? You got one you use?
I don't graft.
Okay.
I've got a one of those Chinese grafting tools in my box. I got a pack of 10
Yeah.
years ago, and I've went to a couple classes, and
Hmm.
I just have too much trouble seeing
Yeah.
um, to do it, and I'm not gonna mess with it. I just soon go walk in there and buy them for $5 a piece for sale somewhere.
Yeah.
But I also bought it's a punch. I'm not. I think that's what it's called, a punch grafting kit. It works better when you got like naturally drawn comb. I got it laying up there somewhere, but it's a little tube on the end of a tool, and when you uh, the way it's designed, you can just take that larvae and got exactly how it works. But you take that tool and it punches out that cell with that larvae in it, and you put it in the cup, and it sticks in that cup.
Hmm.
Let me let me see if I can walk up here and
Oh,
find it.
that's an end
I
of
have
it.
tried to use it. Um, I'll probably dig all around this cabinet, and not find it till tomorrow morning when I'm looking for something else. Well, made a liar out of me. I found it right off the bat. I bought this thing, I bet you 10 years ago. But this is the kind of cups the guy uses. I don't know exactly what brand that is.
Yeah. I've seen those before, but
It's got the little holder like that.
yeah.
I don't think it's compatible with the what they call it, the easy,
Easy
whatever.
beasy. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he's got this little tool right here. See that?
Hmm.
And you take that whole cell and punch it and kind of twist it out a little bit, and then you just put it right on onto that cup, wherever the cup is. You put it right on it, stick it on there, and it's got
Hmm.
a plunger that goes right here, just a dial pin, and you push that dial pin down and just ease it down on there.
Huh.
Push it all the way down. I ought to try that because I do
Yeah.
have some naturally drawn comb.
You just got
But
the whole. That looks like it's big enough to cover maybe a couple cells, is it, or is it just out of proportion? Does it look bigger?
it's a little bit bigger than the cell, so you're actually cutting the whole cell out.
Yeah.
So you're kind of destroying the ones around it.
Yeah.
You cut it out and punch the whole thing down into that cup. Used
Hmm.
to have a little paperwork in there, but I don't even see it. Showed you how to do it and everything. But when I
Yeah.
bought this, I
I
was
never
going
think.
with naturally drawn comb, and I didn't do as much naturally drawn as I thought I was going to do. I just ended up doing it just for drones
Yeah.
and not everything because I didn't look in the hives often enough, and they get it in a mess.
Mhm.
And
Uh,
I've got also got the uh, I don't forget what it's called now. The Nico system.
okay.
Phillips back. Boom. There he is. So, yeah, I got that Nico, and I've used it 1 year, and it worked pretty decent for me. I got about 70% take on it, and that wasn't bad for an old blind boy.
Yeah.
Uh, I just did it that 1 year, and then I started hearing other people using it complain about the eggs disappearing out of the cage, the little cage that she lays in.
Mhm.
Some people said that they were taking them and putting them in, uh, carrying them out of the cage. They thought,
Mhm.
and other people were just saying they think they were eating them. So I don't know.
Well, either or, just no good, you know.
Yeah,
I would say I'd come here thinking they was cannibalizing and then they was packing them out, but maybe not.
not that this one. Uh,
Your audio isn't coming through you at all, Philip. We can see your. We have to read your lips. Read my lips. You ought to be able. You ought to be able to do that. Read my lips. That's Texican talk. That was George Bush, wasn't it? Senior. He would give you
he's
what.
not. It's got to be his phone. He's not muted.
Yeah. You're not coming through at all, audio wise.
You don't have a Ford truck, do you? My truck could take my phone over, and I can't hear a thing off of it.
No, he's not muted. He just ain't coming through. Uh-uh.
Still can't hear you.
No comprende. Go try something else. I guess hives are, I don't mess. I even sent Matt some of my swarm traps. I'm not going to use them. I've got more bees now, and I really care where I have any more or not. Time I get some, I'm going to have to do a little probably splitting later on. So,
I think I put 4 out and an old hive sitting out close to my bee yard. I went ahead and just baited it. It's got some
mhm.
old frame sitting in it. Actually left it out there to use it for just to hold extra frames and stuff in case I needed them. Ended up baiting
Try
it.
again. Are you rebooted?
He still ain't.
You're
He
not
still
coming in,
broke.
buddy. You
Your
got
vehicle,
audio.
your vehicle may have your audio took over. You might need to turn your Bluetooth off. My truck will do that to mine, and it won't work for whatever reason. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. I had to turn Bluetooth off.
Baker's done there by you, ain't it, Joy?
He ain't that far. He's pretty close. I'd say maybe an hour-ish, something like that.
I'm gonna mute me. I'm going to get ready to go on a coffin jack. Now it feels like.
All right. See you when you get back. I got one coughing, one can't, ain't got no sound. uh, what's up? What's up, man?
Hello, gentlemen.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Sitting here with my granddaughter and relaxing a little bit. Just finished dinner. Mowed grass for half the day. About 4 hours of riding mowing on the Kubota, Went and got my daughter's German Shepherd from the dog kennel. She'd been out of town, and I brought her home for her before she got there.
Huh.
And I worked honeybees yesterday. I put all my supers on my hives. So 9 hives with 9 supers on them. And a couple of them I gave 2 supers to because they were so big I figured they'd fill up one super pretty quick. Our autumn olives started
Yeah.
blooming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, autumn olive coming in pretty good here and steady. And
Now,
we don't not supposed to get any frost for the next 2 weeks. Doesn't look like so. We might
now
get
let me
nice
ask you:
spring autumn olive flow.
is it on time? Is it about normal for it to come
About
in?
about about normal. Yep, it's about right, about the right same time. Biggest problem I've had the last week has been rain. I tilled the garden up. I ran the disc. Garden was looking pretty good. I did some ground that we hadn't put a garden in on about 10 years, so the sod was pretty bad. So I was going to hit it another lick, let the grass drop, the sod drop some, and it started raining. It hasn't stopped raining since then. Now it's just too wet down there. So we've had 2 dry days now. Supposed to have several more. So I'm hoping in 2 or 3 days I can get the discs back on there and get what sod's left in there out of there, and then start getting my plants in, my potatoes, my cold weather crops, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli. Just trying to get some things done, you know.
Yeah.
I'm tired of paying these big prices at the grocery store uh, for peppers and tomatoes and cabbage and lettuce and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, we used to have just like raising chickens down here. We used to have a running joke all the time. We'd always have chickens. So somebody had to go into town and said, "What are you going into town for?" So we buy some chicken feeds and some eggs.
There you go. I'll tell you what. I put a post up just a little bit ago. It's already got like 700 hits, I think. I went to the chicken house yesterday when I put those honey supers on. It's the last thing I did, and I walked out of there with 2 of the biggest double yolkers. They look like goose eggs. They made a duck egg look like they be. There's those red sex links. They call them Isa Browns and Comets and all that. They have different names for it, but man, those are some real egg laying chickens for big dark brown eggs. Biggest problem I got is getting egg cartons big enough to hold them.
Yeah. Can you see
But
Steve Amos's question there to you? I got it
I
popped.
have not. Let me look. Oh,
He's asking where
oh,
you
I'm
located.
I'm in Huntington, West Virginia. Huntington, West Virginia. Wayne County actually is where the farm's at. I've got 102 acres. About 80% of it's wooded, and I'm just a gentleman farmer. Of course, the days I'm being a gentleman, of course. But I got the little old Ford International. I mean, not for Harvest International Harvester. I'm not even saying this right. 354, and I kind of just a little bit old school farming the way I like to do it, the way my dad did it. I'm sure JW knows what I'm talking about.
I used to help my dad plant all the time. I hadn't planted a garden since he passed away in '05.
It's funny you say that, Joey, because my last 2 weeks ago was my 7th anniversary of my dad passing, and we always put one in together. And when he passed, I couldn't do it anymore. And this is the first time that I have been able to just get myself to uh, put a garden in, and now I've got fond memories of him. I just missed him so
Yeah.
much the last 5 years or so. But let me show you why my wife's ready to divorce me, Joey. You'll like this. Let's show you something here. Don't pay attention to this messy house. We got the grandkids here. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can flip that camera. I probably can turn it this way. That's my dining room table.
Yeah.
She's ready to strangle me. She said. She said my dining room smells like dirt. And I was like, well, and there, looky here. There's the floor in front of the sliding glass door too.
Yeah.
You didn't tell her that was all for her?
Oh, she knows it's all for her, but she's gotten to the point where she's like, okay, I'm ready to get rid of these. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
if I could get these gardens, I said, all this cabbage and broccoli and cauliflower, I said, it can go out. And even the strawberries can go out. Look at these strawberry plants I got. That's something. I just bought those bare root and planted them 4 days ago, and in 4 days they have came up and leafed like that.
Mm.
Wow.
I can't believe it. I bought them from Bare Root Nurseries there in North Carolina. Got not Bare Root. Naked. Let me see if I can remember the name of the place. But I was watching the Millennial Gardener, and he was talking about this nursery. It had the best strawberry plants come and go, and they give you extra, and they did. I actually ordered 8 or 10. They gave me 2 or 4 extra stuff, but I mean they were nice plants. I followed his instructions. I trimmed the roots. I took all the dead part off. I planted them with the crown up above the dirt, like he said, packed it tight, and then watered them in good. By the next morning, I did that one evening after work. By the next morning, you could see those plants were already trying to do something. It shocked me. And he said that what happens is when you trim that root off some, about halfway, it stimulates them to start growing right away. And I
Mm.
believe that because that evening, 24 hours later, there was leaves already popping on. By the second day, they all had leaves on them. That's day 4, so you can imagine what they did. But it was the Millennial Gardener, and it's a North Carolina nursery, and wasn't real expensive either. Surprised less than $1 a plant.
Hmm.
It was, but I ordered the honey strawberries and the Charlie strawberries. And they're both, I think one's a June strawberry, one's an all season or something. I got a dozen of each, but had a lot of fun with it. It's
Yeah.
I haven't put strawberries out in a long time.
I never was much of a farmer. I could help plant and everything. When I was growing up, my our neighbor had a dairy just a half mile down the road, and every time Daddy'd get ready to do his garden, he'd pay that man's son to come disc his garden.
Mm-hmm.
He'd carry me over to my uncle's house about 2 miles away and hook the old mule up with all his gear, and I'd ride the mule back to our house.
Wow.
And he'd haul all the plows in the truck, and we'd get back to the house. He'd plow, and we'd plant. And that evening, Chris left. That evening, uh,
Huh.
we'd go back to. Every time I get a story started, to
Then you make it with
they,
them.
they jumping
They,
out on.
they jump out on you.
Yeah,
Don't
but anyway, we'd plow that garden. I'd ride that mule back. When I finally got old enough, uh, and ended up planning to get married, the week before my wedding, my daddy bought a little Cub Cadet tractor to mow the yard with.
Yep.
And that was the end of having to go to get the mule. He'd take that belly off that tractor and pull that plow with that tractor. I'd pull it for him sometimes if I wasn't there. If I was working away from home, Mama would drive it for him. We
Really.
got, I'd have to put that on a video or something. We got video of Daddy coming in of that road and dancing around with it like he's wrestling a mule. Now Philip's gone.
That was my own fat finger did that earlier. I was trying to pull
Oh,
the chat up beside it, and it
yeah. But
knocked me
the
out.
second part of that story is after me and my wife got married and moved over here where I'm at now, we had a little land here. She said, I want a little daddy. And then daddy always planted enough for him, us, and all the widow people around.
yeah.
Okay.
And um, my wife wanted to just have a few rows of different things like tomatoes and greens and um, uh, squash,
Or
just peas and beans and stuff like that. Just something to pick and
Right.
go inside and clean it and cook it.
Right.
And I said, okay, I'll do that. So we started planting that, and about the third or fourth year, it got where we were putting up food out of our garden and going over there helping Daddy put up food out of his garden too. I said, one of them's got to give.
Yeah.
So we ended up quitting because he didn't slow down. Daddy didn't. We was putting enough up in a freezer. just out of his. So
Well, we're going to do two things this year if everything goes well. I'm going to try a couple different. I'm going to try and use the ground cover to keep the weeds down. I've been seeing a lot of these guys like on YouTube, this Veggie Boys. I don't know if you ever watch that channel. It's pretty good. And I'm going to try some ground cover because I know I'm not going to get the help everybody says they're going to help me in the garden, but you know how that goes. They say
yeah,
that they just like they say they're going to help me with the honeybees, and they don't.
yeah.
But I'm going to try ground cover to see if it'll save my back a little bit and keep me from having to hoe too much. And I'm going to. I'm going to rotate the crops there. I'm going to put the potatoes in the furthest row deep, which is some good ground, and then my tomatoes like I always did, and peppers, and then I'm going to do the corn uh, in that same vicinity or area. But I'm going to get the cabbages and that stuff on the upper
And
part of the garden because I just know where certain crops do a little better for the amount of moisture the ground gets because it's a levee at the bottom of a hill, and we've learned over the years what to do with that garden to make it turn out right. And I was going to ask your buddy here, JW. Oh, somebody's asking some questions about bees. I probably shouldn't be talking gardening.
well, he just made a statement on
Oh, okay.
he did a Demeray split.
I was going to ask JW. Dad
Better
used to
than
put
the other.
Dad used to put 10, 10, 10 like in the potatoes. Is
Yep.
that still about right, or should we do 12s, or what is your suggestion?
That's still the most popular general purpose fertilization that everybody uses, and you can find it in bags about any place that's got bag fertilizer. If it's just
Okay, good.
small operation, triple 12, triple 10, any of that stuff's good.
That's all I remember Dad doing. Triple 10 and triple 12 is what I remember. I was watching these guys on YouTube, and they're all big about this 29 and this phosphorus and this potassium. And man, they were almost confused. Bone meal this and that. And I'm like, wow, these guys, we never did anything like that. But our ground is usually pretty good anyways. You know, Dad brought in Hot River topsoil in and put down in the garden. For years, we put cow manure down there and stuff too. And that ground's still just as dark and as rich. But I can't imagine having to do much more than the 10 10 10. I did buy some bone meal, I think, a small bag to throw a handful in with my tomatoes. They said they do really well with the
Yeah,
tomatoes and peppers.
tomatoes like that. That's just calcium, though.
You're right. That's what I know. But they were saying that helps them a bunch longer term or helps them absorb the nutrients better. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to continue to learn just like I do with honeybees, you know, keep on learning something new and something different this year. And I'm always just trying to tweak it a little bit, but I'm going to plant
And
garlic for the first time. They said you can plant spring garlic if you get it out quick enough and be able to harvest it by June, July. And my wife and I like that in a lot of our dishes and stuff. So I've never grown that before, but I got some started in some pots, some starter pots there. But my understanding is you can put it out in the ground now where
Oh
I'm
yeah,
at.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could. They're just like basically like an onion, actually.
Yeah, because see, we can put any of those cold weather crops out now. After April 4th, that was the day we could put potatoes out and carrots and cabbage and everything. Now, one of the farmers up the road that's really big, and he does a lot of the farmers market. He planted this sweet corn a week or two ago, and then covered it with that clear plastic. And I watched a video on that where they'll plant that sweet corn, and then the tractor actually rolls that plastic right down behind it. And then when that stuff sprouts and it gets, 6, 7 inches long, they remove that plastic and it's laying down and it pops back up. And they get the corn out early. And I'm like, boy, I tell you what, talking about getting early sweet corn. I never seen anything like it. That's a big thing. Do you do any of that, JW?
No, you can. There's enough commercial operations around here. They almost give it to you. I'm just next to the Wabash River bottoms, and they raise that sweet corn by the by the truckloads. So I just
Oh, I believe it.
I never try to raise it anymore. Used to all the time, but I don't.
Well,
Sweet corn and potatoes, either one. You can get all the sweet corn and potatoes or muskmelons and watermelon, cantaloupe. it's not worth your time to try to raise it because you can get it too cheap. You know,
Yeah, I
you can get
believe that. Well, I picked up a little bag of the bicolor, the peaches and cream they call it up here, and I'm going to sow that this year. Is what I'm going to try and put out.
you
But some people still do the silver queen up here, but you don't see it as much. The most biggest thing they sell now is the bicolor peaches and cream. It seems to be the popular
yeah.
thing up here now.
Well, there's a jillion different. The peaches and cream was the old bicolored standard in the sweet corn, but there's a jillion different brands that's got the bicolored corn anymore.
Well, you'll laugh at me,
Illini
JW.
Super Sweet was the big one in this country. University of Illinois
Really?
developed it, so that's the big
Well,
what everybody plants here.
I went to the feed store and I said, "Give me a half pound of half runners." He said, "What kind?" I said, "Is there more than one kind of half runner?" He said, "Oh yeah," and he went through a list of 3 different ones he had behind him and the thing. And I was like, I said, "I want the half runners." I said, "I'm 59. What I planted as a kid." He said, "Oh, that's the old school half runners." I said, "Yeah, that's what I want." They called them because there was a smaller bean like the half runners, and they had ones that with the big bean and different. He was talking about the, and I said, "No, just give me the plain old regular half runner. I don't want anything. I don't want anything different. I won't have to mess with or fool with or whatever." But I forgot what he called it. He didn't even write it on the bag or anything. But I was like, nope, I got the half runners that I planted, as a kid. And that's kind of what I wanted from there. But I tell you what, the last time, a few years I did have a garden in, uh, I put, a few years back here, but when my wife and I was raising a garden, I planted the potatoes and we couldn't keep up with the Colorado potato beetles. They were just wearing us out, and they eat that seven dust like it's candied sugar. It didn't work or anything, and I gave up on it. And the old man, I stopped at a little roadside up in Grayson, Kentucky, and the man told me, he said, "You need to get that macho potato spray." I said, "What's that?" He said, "You spray that in the rows whenever you're planting your potatoes. You won't see a potato bug one all year." And I was like, "Really?" And I went and bought some of that and did it. And my God, he was right. I didn't see a potato bug. It amazed me how well that's done. And I did that for several years after that. Well, when I got my potato order in, I'd ordered some Yukon Golds and some different type of potatoes that I wanted to try. Some of them purple and red ones and different things. The first thing I said is, "You got any macho potato bug?" Yep. I bought a bottle of it. 'Cause mine, I still had the bottle, but they said it was expired too long with it being 8 or 10 years old. They said to get you a new bottle, and I did. But I'll tell you what, you can raise potatoes again if you use that stuff. I'm sure you probably have used that.
No, never heard of it.
Really,
Yeah.
that's what's big up here. But man, it's unreal. You spray the dirt, right before you plant there and stuff, and then you plant just like you normally do, and you mix like a half an ounce to a gallon of water, and just spray it with your sprayer. Go through there and stuff, and you will not. And they say it's safe and not doesn't do. It's no toxic or anything there, but it kills. I guess the stage of the Colorado beetles are in the dirt, and that's why it kept getting so bad. Is every year they built up more and more and more in there. But I use that stuff, and I tell you what, if you ever, no more walking around with a coffee can picking potato bugs. That stuff is a number one, first class stuff. And I researched it to make sure it was safe. And everything I've read and looked at, it says it is, and that's what all the big farmers use now. But I don't know if anybody else has had any experience with that or not.
What's up, Mark and Matt?
Hey, how you
What y'all
doing? Hey,
doing?
Mark's off screen. There he is.
I want to know who's the mentor and who's the mentee in this.
I'm only in second grade.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Matt, Brian had asked if you went to school today.
yep, I was pretty much. I got straight into the fire is where I went today. Working with the big dogs. So
Uh,
I had a blast.
It's a lot of fun. I remember my first outing with my mentor, and they truly enjoyed teaching me, and that was fun.
Mhm.
Just to be new and learning so much. It's like a kid in a candy store.
Yep.
mm.
Yeah. Mark actually said that Matt probably didn't learn anything today, did you? When we were sitting in there eating dinner, I was like, you don't even know. I was soaking it up like a sponge, you know?
Yep. I remember those days.
Yeah. Good times. We had a blast. Good weather,
Yep.
too.
Oh yeah. And well, and even 5 and 10 years from now, you'll still be learning new stuff. It's
Oh, yeah.
always ever changing.
Yep.
Did
Yeah,
you
we had a
been?
great time.
Did
If
you?
we could have kept our driver busy, he kept wanting to ride off out yonder and disappear on the tractor. You know, he was our gopher. He would go fetch your box for us and then drive them when we filled them up. He drove them on the other end of the farm, set them down. While me and Matt looked at each other. How long you been gone? I know 30 minutes.
And our wife, holding the brood frame and a honey frame, waiting for him to get back. It's like, come on. I think he was taking a nap behind the peach tree, but maybe not.
Did you get that tongue build or bent on that master
The
queen?
grafting tool.
Yeah, queen
Mm-mm.
master grafting tool. Did you get it to working?
No grafting today. We're just splitting them hard.
Oh, you're just doing splits
Yeah,
on
yeah, we're just splitting today. No grafting. That's next. That's next trip.
That means that
anybody
we
can do a
actually get
split.
there.
That's not, anybody can do that. All you do
Always
is
have.
just take a hatchet and go down through there.
About me, please.
Mm.
Listen, I've tried three
Whatever,
or four
40,
different types of
40.
grafting
I think
tools. I
so.
end up finding one of them
With the
cheap
new
old
boxes, at
Chinese
least.
grafting tools and go back to it every single time. It
I
And
seems
don't
we
like,
know.
we
I
got
was,
about 40 splits made.
wow, that's a lot.
We're about halfway done, I think.
yeah.
Now, are you splitting them as a walk away, or are you adding a cell, or are you giving them a queen, or what?
Today we was just getting them in the mating loop.
Okay,
And I've got sales are going to be coming off Tuesday.
gotcha. Seems like a
How you
lot of
building
guys
those
down south
nukes,
there
Mark?
do the
You might.
cells, and the guys up here they order queens all the time and do it.
How we doing what, JW?
What are you doing for resources on those? How many frames of brood are you putting in those things?
Well, I'll let Matt tell you that. He knows what he did.
They're what are they 10 frames, 3-way 10 frame boxes. So 4 frames per nuke in the middle. Divided up in two dividers, and one of them had a blank wax foundation, and then a good brood and a good food, and about 2 or 3 shakes.
Yeah.
So they were pretty well populated for sure, but not too much, but enough to keep the brood warm and keep that hive moving forward.
Well, I'm glad you. I'm glad you had a good time and maybe learned something for a change. You're not gonna
Yeah,
learn.
I know. It's
You're not gonna learn a thing coming out here, so you better go
Oh,
somewhere.
I do too. I learned just as much coming out the JWs too now. That's all I do is try and like a brawny paper towel. I just go around soaking up the info. You know it.
Yeah.
You can see the teacher in Brian here. Matt, what did you notice about Mark's bees? That is an open question right there.
Yeah,
You
Brian's
can
very very
take
good
that
at
in any
asking questions. Brian is extremely good at getting you to think about things. For
Yeah.
sure. He's talented at that. What I noticed about Mark's bees, overall, for some reason, they're a little more gentle than I had thought they might be. Not for whatever reason, I'm not sure why I thought that they would be a little hotter than mine, but they weren't. Um, you had a bee or two up at your veil, but nothing trying to get through the veil, if that makes sense. They weren't trying to bore a hole in
Mhm.
it. Considering we were splitting them down pretty darn hard, that was, any bee's going to be showing kind of their dirty side at that point, but. Um, just very it seemed like everything was very well organized and very methodical about what everything was, everything every step of the way, getting it all set up before we broke into that hive. We get everything lined up, get our nuke boxes there, get everything squared away, our foundation out, ready to infill it. So altogether, it was pretty smooth sailing, to be honest. We got into a pretty good groove. We only took 2 breaks all day, so we did pretty good. I mean, Mark, I think the whip actually broke about 2 o'clock, so he didn't get to flog me anymore after that. But no, it was a great day.
Yeah.
What else did I learn?
What else do you learn how to make a place to put the bees out of nearly nothing?
Yeah.
We built the hive stand this morning.
Yeah, we built a nice little platform hive stand for his mating nukes with a chainsaw, to get the logs level. We got some big red maple chunks and sat those down, and then took kind of a recycled deck structure and set those on top. So uh, a nice level platform to get the boxes up off the ground, so you could work them nice and easy, not have to bend over as much. I know that's one thing in construction I learned. The less you have to handle the material before you put it in, the better. You can wear yourself out moving stuff around enough. That's for sure.
Yep. I got a bad habit of setting material on top of something, and
Yeah,
I'll need that. I set it on before I need it.
yeah, yeah.
I end up moving it again.
You learn not to pick it up unless if I can pick it up with a tractor, don't pick it up.
Yeah. I'm not used to having a tractor with forks coming around, so at one point I'm lifting up a pallet to carry it closer to the tractor, so I automatically didn't feel too smart. So flip that on the ground and it could just come picked it up.
Hey, you've had him say hi. Say hi to Joey.
Hello.
It's what life's about, being grandbabies.
Yep.
This is Miss Maya.
Now
Hello,
get up.
Maya.
They're saying hi to you. Say hi. You know what all those people do? They all do like your puppy does. They keep honeybees. Are you going to work the honeybees this year? Are you going to get in the honeybees with me? No? I bet you eat the honey. See something. Well, you get you some sleep. It's bedtime with Lolly.
Come on, let's go.
Good night.
They said good night. Tell them night real loud.
Tell them night.
There you go.
Let's go.
Oh.
Let's go. I got Poppy's phone. We don't have. You watch Poppy's phone. Come on.
I want to get some your wife could be watching.
Step in that bed.
I want to come back.
Get up in that bed.
Are you staying down now, or are you going home this evening?
I'm waiting for Alicia to try to track me down and then tell me when I have to leave. But no, I'll get going here in just a short bit. It's about 2 hours and 45 minutes. So
Yeah.
She might be trying to sneak up on you too to catch you with Sandy.
yeah, you're not lying. You're not lying. Cross state lines at that. You know it.
He's over here on the good side, JW.
I've been there, but I'll tell you what. I hope you had better luck. That bunch from the dirty side come over here yesterday, and they had my bees so mad. I got stung. I think I don't. I'm not used to wearing all that bee gear and stuff. I think I got stung 27 times yesterday.
Holy cow!
One got in my ear.
Wow.
Now stung me in my ear. This one here. I never was stung inside the ear before, but that one sucker got me before I could get him dug out there. He got me stung inside the ear canal, and Melissa had the nerve to laugh at me. Can you imagine?
You stung today.
If it makes you feel any better, JW, after the second break, I made the mistake of saying something to Mark. I was like, Mark, I didn't even get stung once. And about 2 minutes later, I went out and got one right on the wrist. So I did get stung once today, but for just wearing little latex gloves, to give you an idea, they're workable for sure.
Them gloves, they're from wussies. I don't wear them things.
It's funny how those little latex gloves, it's like the bees don't even know they got skin underneath there. They'll sting you through them. You can't just ramrod around with them, but I have pretty good luck with them, I feel like.
That's
Todd. Hey, Todd.
Hey, guys. What's up?
I'm going to answer Sam's question here right quick. Sam, I have taken 2 holidays. I took off today from bees and yesterday from bees. So trying to get rested up from them. But I've been checking on queens. I've been trying to see if my cells have turned into queens here lately, which is not very productive this year. I'm probably at 50%.
Joey, how long are you leaving those virgins before you go in to check them?
I hadn't
3
put any
weeks?
virgins in this
Oh,
year.
okay.
I've been
Just
doing all
cells.
just sales this year right now. But if I put a virgin in, I'll check her in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I have a question for everyone. I can't find the answer yet. So the other day, I came home from work, and it was trash night. I had to take the trash cans out, put them on the street, and well, I opened the gate, and I heard a big old roar or buzz, and I knew instantly it was a swarm. That's where I have all my drawn comb stored at right now, and all those extra boxes I have. Well, I had them all sealed up, so they kind of attacked one stack, but they fell on the ground. Well, they fell on that mat that I use, that weed barrier stuff, the heavy duty stuff, and I had it wrapped up or kind of rolled up a little bit, and they got in between it. It was sitting on top of a box, and the box kind of, over winter time, it got wet and it kind of sagged. Well, they got all in there, and so I said, well, I can't mess with these guys tonight. So I went out there the next morning before work, and I was looking around, and they still hadn't gotten into one of the boxes that they were trying to get into, but they were all grouped up on that cardboard box, and I heard piping. And I thought, okay, so I know there's a queen there. So my question is this: if a mated queen leaves with a swarm, and I know this swarm was big. It probably merged with one or two other swarms, so there's a good chance there are virgins in there. But will a mated queen pipe, or is it only a virgin?
They're all pipe.
Mated
That's what I
queens
think.
definitely pipe.
Yeah.
When they when they swarm,
Yep.
Yep. Yep. They'll pipe all.
they
That's just the way they talk.
yeah. I've never heard that before. I mean, I know virgins
Yeah.
pipe so they could go find their sisters and wring their necks, but I never, I don't know. It's just kind of weird for me to think about a mated queen in a swarm piping.
I've heard it before in swarms there. I got one last year in the bush and I heard it in there and I knew it was a mated queen in there. And off of one of my hives that I did, I guess, I typically do what most of us do as far as flipping the second deep. I do double deep system. And um, I guess there must have been a cell up in the frame somewhere. And so they ended up hatching off a new queen and the existing queen swarmed on me. And fortunately, she landed in some multiflora rose bushes near my well, and I caught her and I set up a stand right there beside it and gave him some open brood to hopefully make her stick, and she did, of course. But yeah, I've heard them in swarms before, and I've had them. I've even had like an order of 10 queens come from Strachan out in California, and I'll be driving the car down the road after picking them up, and you'll hear them piping in the daggone little
Yeah.
cages with the workers, down
Well,
through there.
the only difference in this thing, the wild card, is the swarming part. Yeah, I've ordered queens where they're in a box and they're talking to each other,
Yep.
but things change when they're swarming. So I've never heard someone say that before. I've never even thought of this question before. So I don't
It's
know.
kind of like a war cry, like the Indians. When I was a kid, when the Indians used to attack us,
Yeah.
they give out. That's what those queens are doing. They're war whooping one another.
Yeah.
Did you catch the swarm?
Yeah, I did, but I can't find any queens right now. It's huge. So they're battling it off somewhere in a corner. I haven't found them. So
So did you put them in a box? You put them in one of those boxes, or what'd you do?
no, they made their way in that box. It was a stack of 3 deeps, And the bad thing about it was my honeycomb frames.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
you know they can't pick the good stuff. They got to pick the stuff that hasn't been laid in yet.
Oh my!
So
But pull some of that off and put some of that other on it.
I was
that's what I was doing. Yeah, I
I'm gonna
switched
I'm gonna
frames
see
out.
if I can show y'all this. I was gonna hold it until I actually come out with the video. Let's see if y'all can see this.
Oh God,
That's a big one. That's a
Yeah.
big one. That's
It
what's that?
it
Eight
goes
pounds,
up.
10 pounds of bees.
you're gonna need an earthquake to rattle that.
Jeez.
That
That's a
wood
big one.
structure.
You
Oh,
can't see it all. See, I thought I was seeing it all here, and I went around on the other side, and it keeps going up.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
you see it.
Birdie.
But I can't count this one as a swarm catch because it's in my backyard.
Mhm.
You know, the first few years I catching swarms and swarm traps, and I think it was Dirt Rooster said that if you put out bigger swarm traps, as in like a deep and a medium, and I thought you catch bigger swarms, and I thought,
Yeah,
well, that sounds like a wives' tale, but I did it, and sure enough, man, the next swarm I caught wasn't that big, but it was a big one. I've got a video out there on it on my channel at my son's, and it was amazing how big that daggone thing in. It came into his backyard, and it sounded like a helicopter landing. Roar, just the roar. It was crazy how loud it was, and filled his whole backyard. And they landed on that box, and they just covered it up. And they filled that box up too, but they would have never stayed there if I never would have went there if it would have been used a regular size swarm trap. It was or maybe when they come back they talk to each other and they tell each other how many we're going to send. I don't know. I don't know what all the science is behind it, but there is some truth to bigger swarm tracks catch bigger swarms.
they like they like empty volume. If you fill it up with a bunch of plastic,
Right?
they
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 don't
ain't
like it.
gonna like it. You might get lucky, but now if you filled it up with drone comb, they would like it. But they like that empty volume.
Yep. I
I've
used to
learned
put a
that.
couple brood combs in there. Then I put frames in there with starter strips, and that's been my most success. Those starter strips make it nice because it's not all wonky. Then when you get in there, they kind of still put it down the road to where I can work with it. And
Yeah,
ever since I started putting starter strips, it does much better for me. And then I still got all that space because it's not filling up with plastic. Then
I still got two from last year that I had never took out of swarm traps. That's gonna be fun.
oh yeah,
yeah, it will be.
I
Yeah.
thought about trying to fix something where I can just put a regular hive on top of it and just let them move up.
Yeah. Probably better.
Yeah, wait another year. They'll be in that next box, and there you go.
Yeah, might do that because I got too many to mess with right now.
That's the old JW Club there.
Yeah.
I'm sending them across the river over on the dirty side. I'm so loaded up with them. Them boys over there, they can't even
What
raise bees over there. The ground's so poor. Won't even
you,
raise bees.
man? The way you talk about that other side of the river, you're so maybe you should move. You're so close to that river. Go somewhere else.
I'm gonna
Bee
move
won't
all
have
right and go the opposite direction.
get out of their travel range, and then
Yeah.
you'd be all right.
Roy, you're gonna mess around and hurt my feelings. I'm pretty soft hearted. Just
Yeah,
ask these
yeah,
guys.
Russell.
They know me.
Russell, I'm really starting to like those story frames, as he calls them.
Yep.
I get questioned on story frame. What's that? So I just try to call them half plastics. But they will take off with that. They jump on that frame real quick when you do that.
It's the easiest way in the world to make comb, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, you just put in a couple weeks ago.
a couple of weeks ago, and they had already drawn his out. I mean, fully all the drone on one side, and they were building all their
Yeah.
worker comb in the middle.
I
Huh.
pulled one out and I didn't realize it, and the the plastic had slid to the side, and they already had the whole thing drew out on the empty side, and was drawing the plastic.
Hmm.
Hmm.
They had already finished the empty side. That was crazy.
I like that.
I'm gonna do like he said too. I'm gonna take that half and split it again, quarter it, and put them on each end, and let them put this up in the honey boxes and see if they'll draw good comb out, honeycomb.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all in all, it was a great day. I'd do it again tomorrow. If I didn't have some other stuff to do. But
That's just the excuse they use, Mark, when you
that's the
really
same one
work
I use at
hard.
your house, JW. I got to come up with better excuses or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it was a lot of fun. I probably got to get in the wind here before too long before I get in trouble. But yeah,
Uh,
Mark told me after dinner he was popping on here, so I wanted to. At first, I was going to sit in here and try and act like Mark, but there's no way I could do that. So he was sitting right here just off to the side to jump in to save me.
you got to get you don't have any Oshkoshes. You couldn't
Yeah, right.
you
I do
can
have some coveralls, but they're at the house.
he probably got them high dollars, stuff. Miller, he done got them good ones.
And
Them
key,
green
yeah, Carhartts, and I got some keys. But
can't afford
all,
them Carhartts.
all mine's got holes in the knees, in both the layers of the knees. You know what I'm saying, JW?
Well, I'll have a talk with Alicia when I see her next time. Maybe I can get you.
I'm due for some new boots too. I put a stick through the side of mine today, so.
Oh goodness.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
There's all my tulip poplar tree. Okay.
Oh yeah, we took a 4-wheeler ride back in the woods and just kind of seeing the lay of his land. And well, I tell you what, he's got quite the spread of timber here with the tulip poplars, and that's one tree we don't have very much of in St. Louis. If people are planting them, they'll be growing, but we don't have too many tulip poplars in the wild.
Yeah.
I guess we have all black locust where the tulip poplars are down here. There's not too much black locust down here as much, but real
Yeah.
interesting to see the flora and fauna and driving through by canola fields in full bloom. That was kind of sight to see. I'd never seen canola, at least in that. It seems early in the year, but I mean it was full going. I thought I was seeing something out of Canada. I can definitely see how the bees would like it.
Well, that ain't the best honey in the world.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I could just
Not to
seeing that
hurt anybody's feelings, but that canola honey ain't
it
easy.
crystallizes pretty quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, I was showing this grafting tool to them earlier. Have you ever seen one like that?
Yeah, it's a whole bunch.
Punch grafter or something like that.
Yeah.
Got the little plunger on it.
No, I never seen one.
I haven't either, Joey. How's that work?
Hold up, let me get that back. What it is made just a little bit bigger than the actual cell that's got the larvae in it, and you punch on it and kind of work it a little bit, and you pull it out of the comb. It's this far naturally drawn comb, and then you can take it. It's got its own cups. I don't know what brand this guy has, but
That's interesting. That way you're not disturbing that at all, are you? The
yeah,
larvae.
that's the cup, and you put this plunger. Can't do it. After you get it out, you put this plunger in there, and just stick it in the on there like that and push it in, and then you'll have that graft right there in the cup.
How about
I
that?
bought it thinking I was going to try it because I can't see good enough to graft, but I didn't. At the time when I bought it, I was planning on going with a whole lot more foundationless frames, and I learned real early I didn't want to do a whole lot of that. So I just did foundationless just for drones. But, so it's been sitting right up there on the shelf for like 10 years.
That's interesting. I've never seen that before, Joey.
People still use that method.
How's
But
the
seems to make sense. You wouldn't be disturbing that little, question mark larvae there at all. I mean, we're
Yeah.
scooping it out and putting there and making sure you got enough jelly and whatnot. I mean, I think that's pretty neat. I've not seen that before.
I
Well, I
guess
just
it's DC, kind of like cutting the cell out.
Try that this year, Joey. I want to see it work.
I had to give it to somebody that can do it. Let them do it.
well, I'm going to hit the road. I just came on to ask that question because it's been bugging me for a couple days. So
Yeah, I just assumed they all did anyway, so I didn't know where to answer it or not. Let somebody that knows ask, but I thought they did. Seemed like
Uh,
I got a video somewhere with one that's laying eggs. She's crawling through laying eggs and piping at the same time.
yeah.
I'll have to see if I can find that video.
Todd, I only knew because I'd had a swarm do the same thing. So,
huh,
and I didn't
yeah,
really give it much thought, to be honest with you, because I've just heard them pipe when I've gotten in and working them sometimes, and I've gotten in there, when they were hatching out too quick on me, and I'm like, oh
yeah,
Lord, I'm too late, and I hear more than one in there, and like I said, bought queens and heard them there in the box driving home, carrying
yep,
on. I've had
yeah,
them. I've had them laying on my dining room table to where I wait till I get off work, pick them up at the crack of dawn at the post office, and go to
mhm,
work, and then know that I'm going to be
Yeah.
using those queens that evening. And my wife's like, "What's all that noise?" I said, "That's those queens over there talking to each other."
For the first couple of years of my beekeeping, I'd never heard of piping. I'd never heard that term. And I don't even remember where we was at. Somebody was talking and they brought that up and they talked about it and I still didn't catch it, you know. And then they played a video of that queen piping and I like, hold up. I have heard that
Mm-hmm.
a lot when I go in a beehive. I just figured it was the bees, just
yeah.
bees in general. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize it was the queen. But
First
yeah,
time
I've
I
been
ever,
hearing that for 2 or 3 years. Didn't realize what it was.
Steve
first time
Amos.
I'd ever hatched out queens, I made about 20 of them. And I put them in a little box and I carried them in the house and I set them beside my bed and went to sleep. And they piped all night long. And when I got up the next day, I dreamed that I was in a duck blind with a bunch of little kids blowing their duck off, what it sounded like. And it was driving me crazy all night long, piping.
You didn't think about taking them off the nightstand and moving them to a different
Yeah,
room?
but I was scared the cat would get them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
I can see that.
Steve, Steve asked me how many swarms I'm up to this year, and right now I'm up to 8. And I'm not really trying. I do have boxes out at the farm that I just bait up, and I get some here and there, and but I'm not really. I mean, I've had more. I think I've caught more in my yard than I have anywhere else this year. Uh, and then DC asked me if I'm going to Nobby, and I said, "Yep, I'm going." Well, I've said it before. This year, I'm going to definitely go to Nobby, so I'll be there.
Oh, it's a good time. I sat and had lunch with Joey and JW there last year, and I had the time of my life. And I've been to every one of them except for the very first one because of COVID. I was too scared to death to get out of the house. But I've truly enjoyed myself. It's just such great camaraderie and such a good time. It's my Disney World, is what my wife calls it. She says
Yeah.
that's your Disneyland, Disney World, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, it is.
And I'd spend all of my time walking around looking at all the vendors stuff.
Oh,
I could catch talks later on, but I want to go around, meet people, see what's what.
Place,
Follow,
place,
I'll follow behind JW and all his crowd and stuff. He's got
yeah,
dozens
he
of following
ducking
him.
behind the paparazzi. You can blend in real easy with all the people behind GW.
yeah.
No.
Todd, that place is so big. I don't even think I saw everything this year, and we tried to. I know we missed a couple. I know we missed at least 20, 30 vendors, not even trying, thinking that we saw everything.
Yeah. And you know
Yep.
what causes that? I finally figured out why I didn't see some of these vendors people are talking about. Because when you start going down the line, you find somebody you want to talk to.
Yeah,
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 Before you know it, y'all going back the other way to look at something.
yep, yep,
Like a bunch of kids.
yep.
Yep.
Squirrel.
Just, yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
Now this year there was somebody there. This year wasn't a normal beaky. It was something like
Yeah,
Gorilla Glue or something. I said I didn't see Gorilla Glue and get my free sample. Where
yeah.
was it at? And it's
it,
back in the corner somewhere.
yeah. It was tucked in the back there.
Yeah.
See, the
Yep.
only bad thing about for me is like I would love to buy some of those Pro Nukes for what John had them on sale for like 9 something, I think, each or something like that. Whatever the price was, it's cheap. But I'm flying out there. I can't shove that in my suitcase or you know. So I'm just there to look at things, but that's all right.
I tell
Yeah, I
you
was
what,
when.
they were almost cheap enough that you could have got a few
And
and
shipped
mailed
them.
them home
Yeah.
Probably ship them
and
back.
still
Yeah,
paid money.
weren't they like $9 or $10 each? Didn't he sell them like that?
I
They
don't
were
know.
cheap. I know that. I can't remember what they were though.
You need to talk to me in private sometime, Todd.
Todd, I had it bad because I had put a pre-order together with John at Hilco and forgot that I'd had one. And then I was in there buying stuff off of John, and the line was so big. The one guy that was doing the standard pre-order, I said, "Is there any chance?" I said, "You can just get. I know what I want. I want this and that. And just ring me up right here." Because he was doing the ones already prepaid. He said, "What's your name?" And I put it in. He said, "Well, you got a pre-order back here. I'll just add it to it." And I looked at my wife and I was like, "I forgot I had a pre-order because that wasn't on my list." And it was boxes and everything. And I'm thank goodness I just happened to ask that guy because I'm telling you, when I got there, that line was so long. I told her, I said, I can't stand on my feet that long in that line. There was no way. And the guy was really nice. He went ahead and said, "Yeah, I'll just add those to it." Because I just wanted some extra super boxes or something. I can't remember what it was. And he added it. Oh, I know what it was. I wanted a solar wax melter. And I didn't want to wait in line to try to get one because the line was so long. I got one of those. I'd seen Joey had one, and I think Mr. Ed, I can't remember, Mike Berry, several people had gotten it. I said, I want to get one of them solar wax melters. Like that's pretty nifty, and they were pretty good on a good price on
I I think everybody's heard me say this, but I'll say it again. I run a lunar wax melter, and I built it myself. It works great.
them.
Say that again.
I think it's a
I
joke.
could. I'll show you the plans. It's a good lunar wax melter.
Oh,
It ought
that's
to
what
work
I
good
thought.
now. I think it's
What I
still
thought I
running.
heard.
Not here.
Oh, didn't
Does she
I
not want to
like
go to
that,
sleep? Am
Steve.
I talking too loud?
John Hill claims it's going to be bigger next year. We're going to change it to the John Hill show.
Yeah,
She's back.
She's got to go to bed, and she got up with her
there's not Mountain Dew in there, is there?
No, it's water, and
No, I'm kidding.
she's wanting she's gotten her lolly. That's what we call her. She's Lolly and I'm Pops. Together we're lollipops.
There you
And
go.
she just now got up and walked down the hallway there. And she wanted to drink of water. She's working her lollies. What she's doing. She ain't ready to go to bed yet.
Yeah, they know how to
Oh,
do that well.
Oh, they're good at it. It's funny how you'd never put up with that stuff when you were parents as kids, but when you're a grandparent, you'll put up with so much more. It's not even
Oh
funny.
yeah, yep.
Come here. Sit up here so everybody can see you.
It's funny how that happens.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna have to get shaken back to the dirty side of the river, so just want to pop in here. Mark's gonna stay on, I'm sure, but are you?
Well, be safe, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, yeah, we'll do it. Just
Nice
straight up
meeting you,
to.
Mark.
I'm gonna go, y'all. I got to clean our mess up.
All
Tell
right.
him bye. Tell him bye.
They're leaving.
Good night, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
See y'all.
Tell him good night, Maya.
Appreciate y'all coming on.
Yeah. Thanks, Joey. See you, JW. See
All
you.
right.
And then there was three again.
Yeah.
That's the three we started with there earlier.
I forgot to tell him I sent him some swarm traps. He's going to be in this swarm trapping business. I sent him some of mine with Tom, so he'll have to go get them. They're not too far apart. They're not, what, 35, 40 mile apart, maybe at the most.
Hey, Joe and JW, I hear something in the background. I want to ask you, have you guys gotten you any of these little barrel ice makers? Makes the barrel ice like a crushed ice. I ordered one from Amazon. I'm sorry, those things are really, really neat. You know how good some of those restaurants have a little barrel ice and like a crushed ice. I got that at the house now, and it's
Well,
in there packing.
I've got a desk, a countertop ice maker.
Yep. Does it
Makes
make
it
the
look
little barrel crush ice like a little
kind
round
of.
one
It's
to
not
order?
crushed, but it's a little round piece
Yeah,
with a
that's it.
hole
The
in it.
barrel rice. Do you love that? Or oh no,
Yeah.
yours. Yeah, I know what yours like. I've seen that one too. I wanted the one that was like
We bought
Chick-fil-A's ice stuff. But I know what you're talking about. Either any
chip.
kind of ice machine is great for it.
Yeah. I bought this one a long time ago. I think it's about to bite the dust. We used to
Yeah,
have
when
it
you
in our
get them,
camper.
yell at me. You'll love that barrel crushed ice. Oh my gosh, it's like having restaurant ice at your house.
Hmm.
I never thought I'd like it that much. The kids said, "No, get this one," and I did. And I'm like, everybody's fighting over who gets the last scoop of ice.
Huh.
I'm showing your toes.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun. They're fun to play with. Ma, you got to go get some sleep, girlfriend. I know, but you got to get some sleep. You'll be tired in the morning when we get up. It's past your bedtime. You're supposed to be in bed by 9. It's 9:30. What? Go lay down with you? No, I'm talking to my buddies, my bee buddies. I'll come in there in a little bit.
Poppy's gonna come in a minute.
I'll come in just a little bit. Oh, I think you're just conning me.
She is not.
You come all the way over to see you, Papa.
Oh yeah, Poppy. She just, if I get back here, she still won't go to sleep. She'll probably be up even more then.
Hmm.
She don't want to go to bed. She said. Oh geez, I tell you what, it's nothing like grandkids though. The nice part is you can keep them for a night, and you get to send them back the next day. It's all the upsides.
Yeah, give them a big bunch of chocolate and get them
Yeah,
all wired up and then send them
that's you
home.
do that right before they go home. You
That's what
load
I'm
them up.
talking about. Send them home to mama.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey Joe, you gotten pretty good at this string team uh, stuff.
All I do is come on. I let everybody else do the talking.
Well, I just seen that please sting the like button marquee came up, and I see you hit your thing and shows just a video of yours like that. That's pretty nifty. You gotten pretty good at it.
I'm trying to figure it all out.
Looks like you're doing a good job of it for me. I'm going to be sneaking down April. See, is it 24th, 25th, 26th. That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I got a cabin rented there at Pigeon Forge. Wife and I are going to do, because we haven't gone probably since that last knobby. We're going to, that was there. So it's been at least 2 or 3 years. And we're going to do the sites and everything we like to do Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday morning we're going to leave Pigeon Forge, and I'm going to go to Cayman Reynolds Farm, and I'm picking up 2 nukes I ordered from him.
Hmm.
So I'm going to try some of his bees there, and they're supposed to. He says he makes them big enough that you can get honey out of them the first year. So they're 5 frame nukes, and he said when you get them home, you better be ready to put them in a box. And so I'm going to get a couple sets of his since I lost a few this winter, and they weren't too expensive. They were like, I don't know, 180, 190, something like that. But it gave me a good excuse to go down there, pick those off, and then I can write that all off under my farm expenses. That whole trip, just like it'd be a conference or something, like for Nobby.
Yeah. Now that's some of his stock.
It's his stock. Yeah, I didn't want any of the. I won't tell you who told me this, but I know he was doing some with the Corey Stevens bee lines. But I know some guys that got some of those, and they said that those Varroa hygienic bees of Corey's said they had to put them in a separate apiary away from their other bees because they'll staple their socks to your ankles. Yeah, I guess with them being VSH or whatever, they're a bit testy to say the least. And I said, I don't want any of that.
Well,
If
we
the
got a guy
Varroas,
in our club that's got some of his queens, and he don't he hadn't said anything. I even asked him. I didn't ask him why, but I even asked him how the nature of the bees are, and he said they're pretty good.
well, that's good to know. This guy got quite a few of them. He's up north. I say maybe 3 hours, 3, 4 hours north of me, and he got quite a few. Now I think he probably got a dozen or more, and maybe it's just certain. Well, I don't know how many that guy got, but he
He
said
might
they's
have
a
some
bit
bad
testy.
drones around him.
It might have because that's one thing he does do is he does have sells those virgin queens, and then they get mated with their nukes. Which, see, to me that doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense. If to buy a virgin queen and it's varroa sensitive, but then she breeds with a drone that's not, or what are you, a 50-50 chance of having a varroa sensitive then doesn't water it down quite a bit? And I said, I would rather buy a mated queen from him with his own drones that are varroa sensitive, varroa hygienic, that would seem to make more sense to me. But that's just my thought process. I've never bought. I've had some Virgin Queens where I've had better luck with sales than I have Virgin Queens.
That's what I use most of the time. The virgins I use are mine. When I have extra cells and they hatch out in the incubator or whatever. I've never used anybody else's.
Yeah, I kind of like the Bob Benny theory. I think the swarm cells, make a good a queen as anything you can get.
Yeah, Steve, I understand what you're saying there. They do make VSH drones, but you got to remember the original drone. If that virgin comes in there, and I've got a background in genetics, that's 50% chance that those drones are mating with that are in your area that aren't hygienic. So then the
Yeah,
offspring is not, of course.
sure.
Now, some of them may be and some of them may not. But if you know for a fact that the drone net queen breeds to is, then you've increased your chances of having all your offspring to be VSH. So, yeah, that's my only thing is that you bring a virgin queen in and she goes out on her mating flights. There's no controlling what kind of drone she's mating with.
You would probably have to. Well, a couple of things. Oh, I just got a Charlie horse in my leg.
Well, Corey sells I scratch myself here. Corey sells the inseminated ones so that you get it that way. He'll sell you
Yeah.
inseminated version of the queens. They're more expensive though. Then you know exactly what you got full blown then.
It even doing it that way, the way most people's doing it, it'll take a few years to get it saturated. And I'm just thinking here, probably the best thing to do is try to put his queens in all your hives. And if you let any swarm, that'll put more out there even
Yep.
again.
Yep.
But you have to do that for several years to get the area around you kind of
I agree. Yeah, it's a
built
numbers
up.
game. That's the same thing with genetics. Every year you keep putting that into your fold, you're going to increase it each time. It's just I agree. You just got to do it. I mean, that's the best bet, and your neighbor near you, if he does it too, that's going to increase your chances even more too. Because those queens will fly, like 4 miles, and your drones will fly like 2 miles or whatever. I don't know the exact distances, but they intentionally fly further out than your drones do. So that's what people have to understand too, is you're going to get a whole new uh, genetic makeup when your queen goes out there on that mating flight. She's not going to be mating with you unless you've got some out yards out there a few miles away. Then you can. That's how a lot of those guys do it. But you still got your variables with your feral hives too.
Yep.
You have to talk to those Virginia, not virgin. I think it means virgin there. You talk to 10 different beekeepers, you can hear 35 different ways to do something.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, amen. And everybody's right. You know that, JW.
Of course
Not
they are.
just me.
Yeah.
No,
Hey,
you never, over the years, you just never realize how dumb you are till you mess with these bees in a box for a while.
oh, absolutely.
Every day's a new awakening.
Joey, I told my wife that I want to sneak down there. You guys have one of your state bee conference or something. I'm going to try and sneak down there one time this year if I can for another different conference. I did Tennessee last year, but I'd like to.
Illinois has a good one.
Do they?
Well,
That might be that'd be
yeah,
a close one
usually
for
the
me.
fall one's the best one.
Why don't
And
you let me know when
one,
that goes on,
one
JW? I
over in
might do
St.
that.
Louis, the folks over in eastern Missouri, uh, Tom, Melissa Sauceman and that bunch, they put on a really nice one day. Well, it ends up being a 3 day deal. Of
Hmm.
course, you go to visit with folks and so forth, but they put on a really good, and they always have good speakers
I'd
if
love to
that's
do
your
that.
thing.
I love seeing different areas of the country
And,
and doing that.
and they have, uh,
Armadillo text says, let's talk about drone congregation areas, please.
uh,
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've heard a lot of people talk about drone congregation. I have never seen anybody that can prove it.
I've seen one guy on YouTube that actually did some kind of study and he actually documented it and actually did like drones, like aerial drones to take pictures of them and stuff too.
Mm.
But that's a pretty deep conversation.
Yeah,
Once they do,
well,
they
the thing
document
about
it.
that
My
is,
understanding is the bees come back and use those every year again too. I believe, don't they? Is my
that happens supposedly, according to the experts, about 100 feet in the air.
yeah, 100 feet
It
in the air.
does. Yep, it happens up in the air, way up. Yep.
Just
So,
high enough where nobody can see it.
yeah, you, all I know to do, Joyce, tell you, we used to do like we used to do the horse flies when we was kids. We'd get one of them little old fluffy chicken feathers, like
Yeah.
stick in their tails and watch them. You have to follow the queen, see where she stick in
Yeah.
her tail, and see where she goes to.
Put one of them collars on her where you can
Yeah,
follow her.
Yeah,
But they,
I saw a video on the Indians how they would they'd set out some honey and then mark some of the bees and then watch which direction they're flying and then move that direction, do it again and continue and
Well,
see
that's
if the same
beelining.
bees come. Yeah, beelining. Yep, and then
Beelining.
yeah,
find the hive in the woods somewhere. You know,
I've done that.
have you? I've
If
not
I
done
hadn't
that.
actually used the sugar water or whatever to move around, I just kind of I could see that that direction, and I just
general
go.
direction he was going, go out there and find the
Cause
swarms
you
and the
see those
bees.
bees go up,
Yep.
see them go up. And when they're really flying, you can't hardly miss them. There's so many. You see them all going almost the
Oh
same
yeah,
direction.
I know that whenever I had bees here at the house, I have a parking area. I have like my house sits on a lot, and I'm in a subdivision of oversized lots, so we're all sitting on like an acre lot, right? And I own like 4 or 5 lots up here because when my dad passed and my mom moved away, I bought the lots off of them so that somebody couldn't build around me. And so I parked here on the lot beside me. I have a parking area, and the lot across the street, I had a couple beehives. And I was sitting there one day on the cell phone there talking, and it was going over the car. And all of a sudden, I noticed I was looking down there at the hive, and the light was just hitting right. I could see the bees flying across in front of me. Their whole beeline was right in between there, whatever they were going to work or going
Yeah,
to my hive, back and forth. But you're right, and they weren't that high off the ground. They were about 6, 8, 10 feet off the ground. They were going right over top the hill there and down the hill and just boogity boogie. I was like, wow, look at that. It was amazing to see it. And then when the poplar trees are blooming, you could see the bees heading straight up into the poplars. They would just take off out of the box and go angling right towards the poplar blooms out there on my farm. So I got a lot of poplar trees, the tulip poplars, and that's one of my bigger blooms if they're blooming good that year.
I'd like to see that video, Dodd. Is that a YouTube or just one that you
Yeah, I
saw?
think I've seen that also.
I
I
think I have too. That's probably the one I was talking about.
I don't know who. I don't remember. Dodd, do you know offhand who that lady was? I don't remember. I think I seen the video also, but I don't. I couldn't tell you if he's gonna shoot me.
You
What
could
came?
probably just put it in the search engine and find them there, JW. It's not too hard to
Well,
put honeybee drone congregation areas and stuff, and probably find more than just that video on there. I know I've watched a couple of them on there when a couple of years into it, it got real interesting. And when I started raising my own queens and stuff, I was looking at it. My biggest concern is, and I don't have as big worries before. I had somebody that was about a half a mile from me, and he wasn't treating, and he literally, I kid you not, he was crashing and burning big. And then my bees would go over and rob out that hive, and they'd come back and I'd have a mite bomb. And
yeah,
fortunately, I kept checking mine and I did it, but it was amazing because I'd have real clean bees. And then it wasn't 4 weeks, 6 weeks later, I had just a mite bomb in there. And when they talk about mite bombs, they're real. They're real. When they go out and rob somebody else's hive out that has died like that, those mites just jump on, hitch a ride when they're coming in there stripping that honey out, especially late summer when there's not a lot blooming. Sheesh. I keep a closer eye on them now than I did after that. And that person doesn't raise bees in that area anymore. So I'm very fortunate that he moved away. His idea was, JW and Joe, you get a big kick out of this. He had like 4 beehives, and he didn't treat to speak of. And his thought process was he bought the insurance through the state, and he'd lose his bees and get his money back and buy them again every spring. He was what Bob Benny and them call a beehaver, not a beekeeper.
Yeah,
He never made it through there, you know. But the problem is those are hard people to live beside.
yeah. Are you? I have the closest guy to me is about 7 or 8 miles that I know of.
Oh, you should be good then.
Uh, called me today. Said he had 2 swarms at his place. I think they were both his bees, but Are y'all? Joey's got swarms. Have you got swarms, Chris? Or you got
Not
swarms?
yet. I think we're just now getting into our swarm season.
Yeah, I don't
April we
do
started
swarms.
putting
I
them out.
don't
I'm
do them
a little further
anymore.
north, and I checked this week 9 hives, and only 2 of them had cups started. I mean, they're
Yeah,
not. They're we're on the doorstep of our swarm season right now. We still had a couple freezes and frosts here the last couple weeks. We don't have the warm weather Joey's name's been getting already,
yeah.
but it's on the doorstep. It's a good time right now. We should be hanging our traps right now. I like hanging them out at my son's place because there's a couple beekeepers out there, and they I guess don't do much swarm control, and I usually end up catching a couple swarms out there every year. And I figure they're from those local bees right there. And
Sure.
every time I've hung a trap out there in 2 3 weeks, there's a swarm goes in the trap. And I told him, I said, that's a couple $100 for me every time you do that. I said, you let me hang it. I'm hanging on the big oak tree out there in his backyard. And he's got a German Shepherd and a Siberian Husky. And he says, I don't want it too low, Dad. So I take a ladder and I put it up, 8 10 feet up in the tree. And I do a deep and a medium. And I've caught some really big, nice swarms. I've got some videos on it there. It's been pretty neat. But the thing is I ratchet strap it down so that when I take it down, it ain't going to come apart on me in any way, shape, or form. So I use a couple of different ratchet straps, one to hold it up, one holding the box already together, and I usually get him with me so that I can hand it to him when I'm up on the ladder because that makes it kind of crazy. But you can't put it too low because them dogs of his, they're high strung. The German Shepherd, especially, is high strung. He'll snap at bees, and if he saw a big cluster of them, he'd probably stick his whole nose or face right in them. He's one of those German polices that they're supposed to use for the military and the police only, but he got his hands on one.
Yeah, I'd like to even know how they figured out that drones only fly a certain distance, and the queen flies twice that.
I,
What I've always heard.
they probably put little radio collars on them.
Mhm.
You never know. They could always put an Apple tag on them.
Yeah,
I
and I
did
do
that.
remember. I think it was Randy Oliver or somebody because he's always painting bees for whatever reason. He did one on just bees going in other hives, and not necessarily right next to theirs, but like he painted. He did a study one time, and they painted uh, hives in a particular yard. They just catching worker bees and painting them blue or whatever.
Right.
And finally, about 5 miles away, they started finding in outyards 5 miles away worker bees around those hives with blue paint on them.
Wow.
So uh, we know that happened.
That's some serious drift there.
Yeah.
Well, they always say like whenever, every time I like yesterday, I had a hive that I had to condense, Joey, that was only like 3 4 frames, and it was in a double deep. And I took one of the deep boxes away. I put all the resources in one box. I put one box together and tightened them up and made sure they had some fondant and pollen patties. And I said, okay, let's get this thing built up a little bit and condense them. Well, a few bees hung around on that box that I took back home with me and put up. But they, of course, I shoot them out when I got to the house. But they say they'll find another hive to go to. He said sometimes they'll take a little nectar and kind of meet the guard bees at the front desk and say, "Hey, here's a little treat," and then they'll usually incorporate into another hive somewhere nearby. They know how to find them.
Yeah, that's what they claim. I don't know if there's anything to it or not. I've never seen that either.
I tell you what, if we could just learn how to speak these bees like all these experts do, they have that bees they speak. That's probably
Yeah.
how they're finding out how they do it.
Don, I didn't see his comment, so I'm trying to find it. Might have to post it again.
So, Darren, I'm from Huntington, West Virginia, and that trip with my son I posted last week, or week and a half ago, or whatever, is in Pocahontas County around Marlington, West Virginia. And that's a big area up in the mountain. That's the eastern mountains below DC, and that's God's country up there. That's the true West Virginia mountains. I live more in the foothills, and I live in the Ohio
Oh,
River Valley here on Ohio and Kentucky.
Yeah.
Matt,
Thanks for jumping on, Darren. I hope you subscribe.
Me
I'll have to
too.
look that up.
We had a good time. I really part of that video. You watch about halfway into it, you see at the Ed Ray Trout Hatchery. There's this big, giant golden trout, the West Virginia rainbow. They had a West Virginia rainbow that came out like solid yellow or gold, and they took that little hatchling and then bred it and crossbred it and kept on playing with the genetics like we're talking about with VSH, and they developed a pure yellow, bright gold West Virginia golden trout. And there's other types of palominos and gold trout, but this is a true West Virginia rainbow they developed. He says, I emerged about 100 miles upriver from you. Steve, I think I met you at Nobby, if I remember right. Looking at your picture there, I think we got to talk there a little bit.
Yeah, he was guarding the door. You saw
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I like where I live. I'm sure everybody likes where they live, or they wouldn't live there. I could live in them mountains though, and never come back home.
Huh.
God, it's beautiful up there. It's like another world.
Yep.
We talked
Have
about
you
last. Go ahead.
wi- have you had a coin sale lately on your?
I have not. It's kind of funny. Since I just started putting a couple videos up. A couple of my old coin buddies have said, "You going to do another auction? You going to get on and do a coin auction?" I said, "I haven't been." I said, "I haven't been to a show or shop or anything in over a year." And I just,
Yeah.
well,
I know it's been a while.
I haven't done a lot of even. I haven't
Since
even
I've
been
seen
making bee videos because and that's not making an excuse, but life has been getting in the way. These grandbabies,
Yeah.
I've got three grandbabies. One's 6 months, one's like a year and a half, one's like 2.5, and that's all my wife lives for. Man, you got six of them,
7.
7. Oh my gosh! Oh, I seen that thumb sticking out there. Yeah, listen, they have changed me a great deal, and they have really changed my wife. I call her grandbaby crazy, and they're awesome, and that I'm going to try to start making more videos again because I do enjoy it and have a good time with it.
I
Um,
know there was a couple times, and it's been a long time, you'd have a certain coin on there. Say, I'm gonna bid on that one. And look, they must have been a lot of people with the same idea because here they go. Boom, boom, boom.
oh yeah, yeah, and you get something people
Rolling
want.
in the
You
bid.
never know what the limits because some people they got deep pockets and they're like, all you in an auction. People say, well, you don't have that many people in your auction. You only got 10 or 20 in there watching or bidding. Only 5. It's like it only takes two people that want something.
Yeah.
You never know how it's going. And when during COVID, when we were all trapped inside and we all had that COVID money, oh my God, Joey, my wife and I, we worked ourselves to death. Which I was working from the house, and I was ordering stuff online and doing stuff. And man, alive, that's when we started them coin auctions was during COVID. And I've told a few people I might pick a weekend here, a Thursday night, like I used to do it, and do one here coming up soon. But I've got enough stuff back here in the safe to do one. But it's a lot of work. The next day, my wife spent half a day packaging stuff up, and insuring it and
Yeah.
printing labels and doing this. There's a lot more work involved. I think for every auction that I did, I figured between the time I did the auction, the acquisition, acquiring the coins, and then package it up, ship it. We had anywhere from 6 to 8 hours in one auction, you know, and you might make $200 at an auction, profit, because there's not that, people have a $10. You buy a coin for $10 and sell it for 12 or 13. It takes a lot to do it, but you typically make all your money on on 3 or 4 items is what you do, and it's those items people fight over. But I may do one here in the future. A lot of people have been asking me. It's just there's a lot of work involved and a lot of prep. If you ever
We
want
all
something in
we've
particular,
we've
just let
almost
me know.
gone 2 hours, y'all. I think we're gonna call it at 2 hours,
That
five
sounds
minutes from
good.
now. What y'all think? I
I
know
wouldn't.
I'm tired. I know JW's tired.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
my eyes are bloodshot. I've been mowing all day long.
Yeah.
I work
That's
all. You
it, me
guys
and
know that.
mine, Joey. It's about
Yeah.
time for that Kenyan to come on anyway. So
Well, you're
let
both.
your
You guys are
daughter
both
be
retired though, right?
retired. I'm only
Uh,
81. You think I'm retired yet?
Retired. You're working for yourself at least, though. You're not working for the man anymore.
I never had I
Never had to
never
work
had
for the
a job.
man.
Never had a job in my life from that
Oh my,
standpoint. I've always been,
self-employed,
yep,
and nothing wrong with that. It'd be nice if I could figure that out. But I tell you
or
what,
the employer. I never did work for any. Well, yeah, I say never. I had a when I got out of the service in 1964.
I was
I
born the next year, JW,
yeah,
so I don't feel too bad.
I had a couple factory jobs. I didn't last. I lasted 28 days at the only job, basically hard out job I ever had in the factory, loading boxcars of bicycles. Made it 28 days. I said that wasn't the life for me. I'd never do that again. So last job I ever had, 1964.
There you go, Michael. Glad to see you and hear you there commenting. You got a couple people are saying bye, Joey.
Yeah.
You got one glycerin question. Time to look up guy you were talking about before with those glycerin charges. What's his name there? Did so much on those studies. You just mentioned him a minute ago. Randy Oliver.
Yeah, Randy.
Randy's got that stuff on that glycerin on those pads, and I think Cayman Reynolds has done a lot on those too. Look some of those videos up. I'm trying the new oxalic acid strips here next week. I'm going to put them on. You can use them with the honey supers. The what's it called, Joey? What's the name of those things? I know Mike was using them.
Extended release, you mean?
Yeah, the ones that's on cardboard. It's the Viroxan.
Hmm.
It's supposed to keep your. It's not a knockdown, but it's supposed to keep your mites at the level they're at. Like if you got them at 1% or lower, it keeps them there. And you can use them with honey supers on. I bought some in after the Tennessee uh, conference last year, and they're still in the package. I hadn't opened. I got them right after they released them. I don't know if either of you guys have tried those yet. I'm gonna try them. I saw Mike Berry had them on his.
I've got all the stuff to make that been with. I even got one of them induction, little injection stoves, the induction stove, whatever you call them, to make them with, and got all the glycerin and all that, and never did make any.
The
So
Swedish pads, yeah. So I'm not sure the Viroxan if that's the same as the pads that they're making though, because I think it's a cardboard and something else. I'm not sure, but I know I've tried it. Yeah, yeah. Those are the over-counter OA strips. DC's right there.
yeah,
Viroxan is what it is.
yeah.
Yeah, works the same with the Hoy. Yeah, I don't have time. Cereal soaked boxes in ox. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna put them on mine this year, and because I've already bought them, so I might as well. They aren't gonna do anything sitting in the package in the garage from there.
Yeah.
No, they don't work that way, huh?
No, no. But Joey, JW, thank you. You guys don't work too hard at your own home place while I go out and work for the man for another 2 or 3 years.
Well,
I'll just be
watch what you
jealous.
wish for is all I can tell you.
And
It
it'll
ain't
be
all
soon enough.
it ain't all it's cut out to be.
I want to just get up in the morning and do what I want to do is what I'm hoping one day.
Yeah, me too.
instead of what the wife wants you to do.
It's
All
just
right.
like you said. It's just life in general. When you got plans, other
Oh
things
yeah,
change. You know.
Well,
absolutely.
in 12 more days, we'll have had the same boss for 60 years, Chris. So I know a little about that.
Well,
Yeah.
congratulations. I've been with mine, I think, 33 years. So
Yeah.
Mine's like 48, 49-ish, something like that.
there you go.
24th April, 12 days from now, it'll be 60 years.
Well, I got to have dinner with two of those grandbabies of yours, Joey, last time.
Yep.
They're pretty girls.
Yep. All right, y'all. It's been 2 hours.
All
All
right, brother.
right.
Appreciate everybody coming on. Appreciate everybody over in the chat. We'll see y'all on the next one.
Good night, folks.
Good night, gentlemen and ladies. Bye.
That was a